Okay, let's go back to that story now where we're discussing whether or not the former President Jacob Zuma is a victim of bad legal advice. I'm joined now by Lawson Naidoo from the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, KSEC for short. Mr. Naidoo, I hope you can hear me now. Has the former president received bad legal advice? I mean, I've heard that being thrown around quite a bit, but he's had a different set of what look like from the outside good, excellent, solid lawyers.
Well, I think the reality is that the former president is running out of a legal runway, and these were desperate applications to try and avoid having to go to prison. And in fact, Judge Mnguni could simply have dismissed the matter this morning on the basis that the issue was now moot, in that the order that Mr. Zuma was seeking to suspend had already been implemented. He is, in fact, already in prison. So you can't stay an order that has already been implemented. But it's perhaps useful that the court did actually deal with the arguments that were put forward on behalf of Mr. Zuma relating to jurisdiction, as well as the fact that the decisions of the Constitutional Court cannot be second-guessed by lower courts. So the court was quite clear in dismissing all of the arguments that were put forward by Mr. Mpofu.
Yeah, why would he had been advised to go there in the first place? Because it's never happened before that a lower court would overturn a decision made by a higher court. And in this instance, it was even a decision made by the apex court of our land.
Yeah. Well, I think the court, deals with that. In one of the paragraphs, Judge Mnguni says that the application sought to entangle the court in what it called judicial adventurism and to make whimsical orders which have the effect of granting unlawful and unwarranted relief. And so that was really, this was a fanciful application trying to, against all the odds, see whether they might be able to make some headway with the Pietermaritzburg High Court.
Did this adventure begin because of bad legal advice or a client not wanting to listen to... We were not there in those rooms to sound legal advice or apply their own mind. What's your sense? I mean, just looking at everything, we've all been following this matter.
Well, Mr. Zuma himself said he was the recipient of bad legal advice earlier on in this process when he didn't participate in the contempt of court hearing in the Constitutional Court in March. Nor indeed did he participate in the December matter in the Concord. So I think it was those decisions on the basis of what he now says is bad legal advice that have caught up with him and forced him into this corner where he's run out of options, and his last roll of the dice effectively is on Monday when the Constitutional Court will hear this rescission application.
Has it happened before that the Apex Court has gone back on a decision, has rescinded a decision it has made on solid grounds? I mean, we all listen to Judge Sikhakhane reading that damning ruling.
Well, not only was it damning, it was comprehensive in that it covered all of the legal bases and arguments and the constitutional legal principles at stake in this issue, including whether the Constitutional Court could, through a motion application, consider the issue of contempt of court, and it decided that there was a sufficient precedent for that to happen, and they proceeded on that basis. So, as I've said, this is an attempt by Mr. Zuma to seek to lodge an appeal through the back door, trying to use the rules relating to rescission, which clearly do not apply to the facts in this case.
So is it a matter of bad legal advice again?
Well, I think it's a question of desperate measures. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and Mr. Zuma, as we know, will try any trick in the legal book to try and avoid, being held accountable.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen on Monday. I mean, as you said, trying to use all kinds of possible ways. You can't sneak in an appeal through the back door to the Constitutional Court. Prospects for success on Monday, Lawson, are you able to call it?
Well, I would be extremely surprised, Dan, if the Constitutional Court in any way overturned or even varied the order that it had granted last week.
Thank you very much, Lawson Naidoo. Of course, he's the man at the head of KSEC, which is a Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution.